Hi, my name is Rich Casselberry. I am the Director of Network and Security for the Global Extreme Networks. And today I want to show you some of the Oneview and Purview tools and tricks that we use when we're troubleshooting network issues. One of the first things I want to share with you, and probably if you've been in the networking space for a while, you've gotten a similar email. But it's how do you deal with the emails that say something along the lines of, "Hey, Rich, the network's slow, Joe," and that's all it says. Right now, I don't know what kind of device Joe's on. I don't know if it's wired or wireless. I don't know if he really means the network's slow or he just can't get to Oracle. It's just not really enough data to troubleshoot why Joe is emailing me. Now, many times I'll get these requests, usually on a Saturday morning, just as I'm ready to get out on my boat, and it's an executive, or it's a senior person, or it's a critical resource, and so we'll drop what we're doing and we will troubleshoot the issue. And one of the things I've learned is, before spending 3 hours on a Saturday morning troubleshooting, assuming I know where the person is, the first thing I do is I find out where they really are. So you can see in Oneview, there's a very easy to use search screen. One of the great things with the search screen is, with it integrated with Identity and Access Manager, I can just type their username. So I don't need to know what type of device they're on. I don't need to know where they are. I can simply type in their username, which I can pull from the email. It scours the network. It finds all of the devices authenticated to that user. So in this case, this is my Android tablet, or my Android phone rather. This one here, the 7C, 7A, is actually my laptop that I'm doing this presentation on. And from here, I can see which access point is connected to. I can see the link speed. I can see which controller is connected to. I can see what type of device it is. I can actually get all of this on one simple to read screen, what we call the fingerprint screen. Again, what type of access point, top applications, so what is this machine actually doing? If you run assessment, you can see what type of health risk there is to the rest of the network. I can see type of device. There's been many times where we've been troubleshooting a device, get 45 minutes into it and find out we're troubleshooting the wrong device. So now I can say, hey, is this really your Windows 7 machine, or is this something else? And if they say, no, it's a Windows NT machine, then I need to make sure I'm looking at the right device. The other thing that's pretty useful here is I can go back to end system events and I can see where this device was at a certain point in time. This is important when you get the emails that say, yesterday at 3 I was having a problem, even though it may be working fine today. I want to be able to troubleshoot where the problem occurred, not necessarily where the machine is now. We find this actually even more useful in virtual data centers where you're running something like VMware Dynamic Resource Scheduler that can move virtual machines on the fly. We're seeing cases where Saturday this didn't work and it worked fine on Monday, and you troubleshoot where the device is on Monday only to find out that it moved on Saturday. So knowing where the device was when they had a problem, obviously very useful. This allows you to get really in-depth wireless details. If this was a wired port, you could get wire information as well. You can see what SSID, you can see discards and power levels, and frankly all kinds of very specific wireless data. I can get a quick view of how the access point is performing. So this is the access point that this device is connected to, but is everybody on the access point? So it's access point wide. I can see how many people are on it. If you can imagine, if this suddenly dropped off to almost nobody, maybe it sounds like an access point problem versus a client problem. I can change this time frame if I wanted to look for the last 24 hours because it's a current problem. Allows you to break it up a couple different ways. The next step is actually client history, so I can see how this one particular client's been behaving. So you can see my client bandwidth, not very high. We don't need to comment on my lack of usage there, but I can see relative signal strength. So it looks like something happened here. I don't recall having a problem this morning, but maybe I shut my machine off or something. Anyway, specific information on the client. So now I can see, what type of device it is, where they're connected, and what's really going on from a network perspective. Now, the other thing that I've realized is a lot of times when people say, quote unquote, the network is slow, a lot of times it has nothing to do with the network. So using Purview, which is our Layer 7 analytics engine, we sell it as business analytics. It does really great business analytics stuff. I actually did another video talking specifically about how you can use this to make intelligent business decisions. If you're interested in that, you can listen to that video. And we have a great success selling it as a business analytics engine, a network analytics engine. That said, this thing is an awesome troubleshooting tool. So what do I mean by that? So I want to take a quick look here at Browser. So Browser allows me to drill into the data that Purview has. So for example, we're troubleshooting a slow network issue. I'm going to switch to Salem. I'm going to troubleshoot my network device because it's easy to know. What I really want to know is I want all the applications by network response time for a particular user. So again, username doesn't have to be IP address. It can be something that people know. This is actually going to go out. It's going to find all of the applications that I've been using in the last hour and tell me which one of them is slow. Now, in this case, everything is green. No performance issues to speak of. But it could be a case, in fact, oftentimes what we'll see is DNS will be really slow. Now, DNS acting slow can make anything look slow. So the first time you go to any web page, it'll query DNS to find out where it's going. So if DNS doesn't perform well, everything will seem slow, which usually gets lumped into the network is slow. So one of the first things to check is that. And again, here everything looks good, but if there was a particular application response time that was really bad, maybe it's an Oracle query that's taken a long time, it'll show up as application slow versus network slow, which I think is really, really useful because we used to spend a lot of time troubleshooting network issues only to find out that it was really the application. So now in a couple of seconds, I can literally say, hey, you know what? This doesn't look like a network issue. I don't want to throw the problem over the fence and let somebody else deal with it, but here's why I don't think it's a network issue. I think it's an application issue, and let's look there first. So very, very useful. Now, the other time one of the other times we use the browser tab is when a particular application is slow. So, for example, I have gotten calls before from our head of finance saying the file server is slow when they're trying to do book close, and finance are the ones that approve whether or not I get to spend money, so they tend to go to the top of the list. Not that we don't treat everybody equally, but some people are more equal than others. So, so again, I want to be able to look at all of the client, again, by network response time for a particular application this time. So not just a particular user, but a particular application. So I'm going to look at CIFS, which is Microsoft File Sharing. And at the time, when our finance partner had trouble, when I brought the screen up, literally network response time was green for everybody, and there were 30 people with poor application response time. Now, in the past, if somebody had said the file server is slow, I would have probably dispatched a help desk technician. They would have gone to her laptop, probably disconnected from wireless, undocked and redocked, checked for driver updates, checked for Windows updates, rebooted the machine, and probably spent 2 or 3 hours troubleshooting that laptop, only to find out it had nothing to do with her laptop, right? If it's 30 other people going to the application, it's probably not her laptop. It's probably actually the server. Now, the funny thing is, when this happened, only one person called me, even though there were 35 people or 33 people that had poor application response time. So a lot of people were having poor experiences, just not telling me about it. So by using these tools and understanding where the problem really is, instead of spending 3 times and impacting these other 32 people, we were able to pretty quickly determine it was a server issue. I think in that particular case, it turned out to be a memory leak, and we had to restart a service or something. But again, it took that, what probably would have been a 4-hour troubleshoot, literally down to 20 minutes because we didn't spend 3 hours looking in the wrong direction. So the ability to figure out very, very quickly, is it a client problem? Is it a server problem? Is it a network issue, an application issue? I think really separates us apart from everything else. There's a lot of other things we can show inside of Purview. We'll probably do additional videos in the spirit of keeping these videos relatively short. But if you have any suggestions or any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or to your account exec. Thanks. Have a good day.